All right, today we're going to look at the Connecticut Colony, which is established in 1636. And its early settlement is started by Thomas Hooker and other leaders from Massachusetts with about 100 settlers, and they moved from Massachusetts to Hartford. And you can see Hartford there is on the Connecticut River. And one of the big reasons why they move is because Hooker and others had a difference of opinion on who should be allowed to vote. And to understand the difference here, you got to understand a little bit about the way the Puritans were operating in Massachusetts. So Massachusetts Colony was set up as a colony of Puritans. And so to vote, you had to be a church member. And a male church member. And so, becoming a member was not simply hey, I'd like to become a member of this church. You had to demonstrate through, your understanding of the Bible and through interviews and things like that. Not only that you understood what it meant to be a Christian and what it meant to have the right beliefs that the Puritans had, but also you had to describe your conversion experience and to help to demonstrate that you were truly converted to the Puritan faith. Well, that meant that there was a lot of people that were Puritans, considered themselves Puritans, but weren't officially members of the church. And so these were what might be called worshipers, Puritan worshipers, but not necessarily members. And Thomas Hooker believed that all of these worshipers should be able and allowed to vote. And so this is an expansion of voting rights, and because of these disagreements, they basically decide, hey, let's move to this other area where we can create our own government. And these ideas help to establish what is known as the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut, which are the first constitution in the colonies that create a representative government. And some people even say that this is the first written constitution creating a representative government in the world. And so I guess there's a little bit of a disagreement on that fact, but it's certainly the first constitution in the colonies that creates a representative government. And several other things that this constitution does. It has a secret paper ballot, and it states the powers that the government has, and therefore also limits that power, and kind of expresses this idea that people have rights. And so these are some of the earliest expressions of what become American democracy and American form of government, and we have it all the way back here in the 1630s. And so living in Connecticut, though, is not exactly an easy life. The geography of the region has some good things about it. The Connecticut River is a good river. It's right along the coast there. You can see the bay, and so that's going to provide shipping or fishing, but the farming is pretty tough in this area, and it's primarily subsistence farming. There's if you work at it and you develop your land well, you could get a little bit more, grow your crops sufficiently to maybe export some, and that did happen, but it was tough. It wasn't a great farm land, and just the climate in general there is not great for farming. So the farming is primarily subsistence. There's shipbuilding and fishing and a significant amount of cattle being raised there. It's not on the list, but you should definitely add that to your list. And you can even see just by the kind of the layout of look where all the settlements develop, right along the coast. So lots of fishing or along the river, and lots on the Connecticut River. And so that's going to be key areas for this colony. And you can also see that there's actually more than one colony. Hartford is the beginning, then we also have Saybrook and New Haven, and these all eventually become combined into what is the Connecticut Colony. They also had a lot of trouble with the Indians there. There's a ferocious war known as the Pequot War, and that is not just in Connecticut, it's in all of New England, really, Massachusetts, Rhode Island as well. But this war is pretty ferocious, and lots of people killed on both sides, but it does help to, as far as the settlers are concerned, it's a victory for them, and the Pequot people are severely weakened and do not survive really, do not continue to have reign over this territory. They lose territory during this to some of their not to their allies, but to some of their Native American tribe enemies as well. And so this is an alliance that actually happens between, there's an alliance that happens between the colonists and some of the native groups, and land is lost by the Pequot faction. So that's the basics of the Connecticut Colony, and we'll look at some other colonies on the next video.